is one without parts.
Does that poon Mudachate coming forth, does that mean that from that poon whatever comes is
It's
also
always full. It has never been incomplete. What came out of it has always been complete. What comes out of it is also complete.
Now this sentence makes sense. So poonavada, poonagam, poonat, from that poon, whatever is here, from that poon, whatever comes
Is also
poon.
Purnam.
And now this is of the poon. So of that poon, whatever is removed is also.
Is also remaining Purnam.
So whatever is removed is also.
So the English translation needs a little bit of work, and it doesn't come out as poetic as the substance. But the context is clear. What is it talking about? So the context is talking about infinity.
Yeah, and one without parts. You said it's complete one without
It can
parts.
either be infinity or it can be one without parts.
Because infinity has parts.
It is actually made up of parts. And the most important thing is, if I can count one, and I can count two, then the question becomes, who's counting? Is that person outside of infinity? Then that infinity does not encompass that. And if I am outside of it, it has a part. That part is me. I'm standing outside it. And if I'm standing outside it, it is incomplete. And if it is incomplete, it's not what I thought. It can only be one that has no parts. What is the meaning of the word parts? I said one without parts. Easy to say. You have some notion of what is one without parts. The question becomes, what does it mean to have a part?
Which has its independent identity. The part is, what is the meaning of parts? It is a part which has
Part will be depending on the whole. Contributor to the whole.
contributed to the whole. So if the part comes independent,
What is a part? Define a part. I want to know now.
so which one taken out of its whole can sustain without the whole. It can have its independent identity, then you can say that this is the part.
I think the key word in all of those words that you said is something that I can identify.
Yeah.
I don't agree with independent.
Yeah, independent, something I can identify. This is a part.
Yeah.
I know it when I see it.
Yeah.
This is a part. I can remove it. Would you agree that that means that part is
Yes, that's what by independence I meant, like has its own definition.
correct? And what did we say about adjectives? Visheshana? It makes it Vishesh and it makes it Vishesh. Which means what? We said if it is a Vishesh, that means it's limited. Anything that needs a Visheshan, by definition, makes it very Vishesh, becomes special. And in its speciality is its limitation. Because it can only be that, nothing else. If I can define something, that's it. It's defined. It is constrained. It has become a construct of my thought, and its abilities are limited to what I say. That is a part. Part means adjectives. What are adjectives? Big ones. Space. Hand. Mass. Big ones. Big adjectives. Anything that you can talk to me about, we can talk about space. How big is it? Is it there all the time? Because I can have a spatial time construct of whatever this is. Things come and go. There may be parts that existed in it for a little while and then they disappeared. Like if you look at the evolution of or the growth of an embryo. The embryo had tails. At some point in time, they went away. Where did they go? They went. On the time axis, it was there, but it's not there in the space axis anymore. Because it's got a temporal evolution too. There's space, there's time, what else? Big one, mass. How heavy is it? Depends, has it eaten dinner or not? If it has eaten dinner, then it's very heavy right now. Come tomorrow morning. Weight will fluctuate a little bit. There are other attributes. There are certainly other attributes there. Does it do anything? Does it do something very special? Yeah, it does something very special. It's a magical wand, which means that by definition it's not a walking stick. Unless it's long enough as a magical wand, put three of them together and convert it into a walking stick. The wand will say, I'm a magic wand, why are you using me as a stick? I said, right. You're special, right? You're so special that you can't be a walking stick. Because in your definition is your limitation. Big ones, space, time, parts. 1 million parts.
So,
That would be good.
so Professor, the things that we are describing, then what they are? Because they are limited things in some sense.
Correct.
So what are they? Because if, in some sense, if we say they are also, in some sense, manifestation of Maya, and it is substratum in which Brahman is built and everything. So, in some sense, that is also part of Brahman only. So, what is being limited there? So, if it is Purnam, then we are giving adjectives. So, it is not Purnam in that
So
sense,
this
right?
is the teaching paddhati. So the problem with the teaching paddhati is first I have to have Drik and Drisha. I need to have Atma and Anatma. I have to distinguish between Atma and Anatma. Because the problem, the avidya, is that they are superimposed upon each other. They have gotten mixed up in there. And I am not being able to identify what is Atma and what is Anatma. So first I'll separate them out. And then Atma will consume Anatma. Because Anatma does not have its own independent existence. But it's a process. I will first have to parcel it all out. And then Atma will consume. But that will be the second step. So we'll do the first step first. Yes, these things have attributes. Space exists. So are you telling me that something limited, isn't space coming out of whatever it is coming out of? So is space limited? Yes, space is limited. Does that mean Atma is limited? But you said what comes out of Atma is only Purnam. So how can space be limited? I will give you the explanation so it will work for you. You've got space held in your mind. You got it? Space. Infinite space. Endless space. You got it? Yeah. Infinite space. Was that space is or is not? The space was truly limited, but the isness associated with that space was never limited. You got space held in your mind? All of it, through time from the beginning to the end of time, all of it will require existence. That existence in the association of which space looks like space is Purna. That isness is without bounds.
By isness you mean existence.
Fact that you can see this is space. The fact that it exists, it has its existence here. Now or in the past, existence never goes out of existence. And it is in the presence of that existence that everything else has its existence. I'm replacing the word Purnam with existence. Because Purnam is that Sat Chidananda Atma. It is Sat, which means that it is here. If it is not here, we can't talk about it. There's nothing to talk about if there is nothing. Now, what is here, however big it may be the definition of bigness itself. But it is. And it is constrained, I could say, it is contained in that is. So when you say space came out of Atma, Atma will say yes. But did it? Because I was always there. Did it really come out of me?
So it's still in.
Purna Mudachati. Yeah, it came out. Did it? No. Because whatever came out existed. And that existence was always with it. There was never a bubble universe out there. Whatever exists is like it. Is that working for you or not working for you? Because we can revisit this. Because what is important here is the understanding of Sat. Because Sat consumes everything. Right? That's it. Atma and Anatma. I will distinguish between the two. But then Atma will stand up and consume Anatma. Because it will tell you whatever is Anatma is. And while it may come and go, its isness never comes and goes. What you called space was a vritti in your mind. Only thing that was ever there was isness. And that isness never went away.
But we can see something coming and going, right? Isness is not coming and going.
Isness is
But something is coming and going. What is that something?
So that is Anatma. That is an attribute set of adjectives that you've identified, but it is not complete by itself. You cannot take it out and say, here it is. I've pulled it out. Does that make sense to you? Can you pull it out?
No.
But how does this adjective assignment begin?
So this is being done by the mind, remember? The idea of space is being identified by the mind. As far as the mind is concerned, within a 3D construct, it is seen the 3D space. If you had a 2D mind, you would see 2D space. And you would say, this is space. And Atma would say, yes, it is space for you, but it exists. If I was a one-dimensional being, I would have a one-dimensional space. And I would say, this is space. And Atma would say, yes, this is space. For you, it is space. Whatever space you are perceiving, it is space. With the lens of your mind, it seems to have attributes, it seems to have parts, but in reality, nothing is going on in that existence.
Isn't Sat also an adjective?
Tell me, is Sat an adjective? Can I imagine what are the attributes of Sat? If Sat is an adjective, what are its attributes?
I can't think of it.
I can't think of it, but maybe there is some adjective like existence is an adjective because I perceive it.
Can identify it.
You can see it. So if it is not there, you should be able to see it. Or show me non-existence. If you can see existence and you say, I see existence, this is exactly what existence looks like. Please show me non-existence. Because I got to compare it to something to understand what it is. Show me non-existence and I'll believe you. Is there one? Can you bring me non-existence? Yes, the horns on a rabbit, they are non-existent. I found a non-example. Square root of -1. Does it exist or does it not exist? I brought it to you. We've talked about this before. Fine, yeah. The horns on a rabbit, they exist. When I'm talking about it, they have existence. They have borrowed their existence in order to come into this conversation, they have to borrow existence. Existence will never go. Sat will never stop. And it has no parts because it has no attributes of space, no attributes of time, no attributes of mass. Because mass is, time is, past time was, when I'm talking about it, it is. And when it was there, it was is. I cannot find the past and bring it to you. But when we talk about it, it will be in our memory, and when we live it, it will be the present. There is no place where the past is rooted and sitting that I can go and bring it to you. If I could do that while I was bringing it, it would come into existence and it would become present.
So, here's some questions in the practical aspect.
Okay.
Practical
Yeah,
aspect.
okay, fine.
So, since everything now are thoughts, right? Include everything, even we see me.
Even you seeing me is a thought, but does that thought exist?
No, something everything is thought. Now in this practical life, if I want to be happy, I just sit in my room.
Think happy thoughts.
And think happy thoughts or imagine happy stories. Sure. One day this is happening, say I'm fond of eating whatever is into or feels better or something. So I can sit in a room and I can imagine that scene and I've been given this award and see what is happening.
Until it becomes a reality.
Well, I can get you a
Then what is reality? That's the
no,
question.
I can get you a simulation that lets you feel like that, right?
So I'm saying then basically
So what is reality is the question.
Yeah.
The question.
That's
In
a
fact,
fact until it becomes reality, then there is no reality. So then
In fact,
imagining
this-
happy thoughts are fine enough.
Yeah.
Imagining happy thoughts are fine enough to be happy.
If the goal was to be happy, yes. Because two people are really happy. One who knows everything and one who absolutely knows nothing. Both of them are very happy. You pick them. You pick which one you want. Because there will always be two people. The child is extremely happy and a properly lived life. An old person will be very happy. Which one do you want to be? The one who doesn't know or the one who knows? And you can say, right? What was it? It was the matrix, right? He says, I just want to be inserted back into the matrix. I don't want to know. I don't want to know that this was an illusion. Not that I'm referring to that the movie has serious flaws. It does not directly apply to what. But fine, as I've said before, if ignorance is bliss, then ignorance is bliss for you.
No, but thinking about happy thoughts, how is that ignorance?
There's no reference to it. How did you decide this is happy? Can you?
That somehow makes me feel happy.
So let me ask you a question. Can you tell me what your next thought will be?
Whatever will come, if that will make you happy, I'll keep going.
That's right.
So you're saying some thoughts can come which cannot be happy thoughts.
That's right. That's why you have no control over what your next thought is going to be. Can you control what your next thought will be? You can try to think happy thoughts.
Yes.
You can try. But I can tell you for sure that you cannot predict to me what you're going to think about in the next 30 seconds. It may or may not depend upon what I say. It may depend on whatever smell comes wafting into the room. And if you cannot do something as simple as predict your next thought in the next 30 seconds, you're telling me that I'm going to sit in a room and I'm going to dream. You have control over your dream. How quickly does your dream turn into a nightmare? We have no control over what the next thought is going to be. That is not within our purview.
Yes.
Fair enough.
So, and then the second question, that I asked you, the first one, you said assigning everything we don't realize what is sub has no attributes, right? So, but we assign adjectives to things, and that's how the physical world is. Everything has some adjective. So, am I right saying this, that if someone wants to really realize what exactly is actually bliss, then slowly and gradually stop. I'm talking about very practical. Slowly and gradually stop assigning attributes to people, things, actions, results, or slowly and gradually, like stop being judging in negative sense.
Yeah, that's fine. Stop being judgy, stop being negative. That goes. You don't need Vedanta to do that.
That's
That's
like
logic.
moral.
No, so I'm saying slowly, can this be one path too? Because when this thing becomes in practice, that okay, stop judging. Or on things, then is it one step towards that direction?
Definitely. You know, even before we got here, we did the Shatak Adi. We talked about
Shamadhi.
Sama, Dhamma, we talked about Shatak Adi, Sampati. Those were all part of that. And certainly, what you're recognizing. I think the most important thing is that you do not deny Visheshanas of their Visheshanas. What you do is you recognize them for what they are. They are what they are. Space is space. Space is not going to become time. I recognize space. I value space for what it is, but I understand that space is.
So basically, this line right now, they're saying कि निंदा ना करें, कि निंदा ना
It's
करें.
not Vedanta.
But that's not.
I have not. That's from bhajan written by Mahatma Gandhi.
Not written by Mahatma Gandhi, popularized by
Popularized.
Mahatma Gandhi, written by Narsin Mehta.
It's not Vedanta. We're in the world of Vedanta.
No, nothing but this.
We are sitting with Purnavidam. So right now I will refrain from commenting about because some of them have nuggets of it. I will not say that there is. I will not criticize anything that is adds value, and everything generally does. Most things generally do. It's not our subject matter right now, so I will refrain from commenting about it. It will get too mixed up.
Okay.
Because it's a. We've talked about dharma and moksha, two different things.
Yeah, that's
And dharma is-
what I'm saying in the practical aspect.
Absolutely.
Not the
Absolutely. But the question is, what is real? The question was, what is real? What is real? The real is the one that persists through everything. That is real. Your thoughts will come, your thoughts will go. Day will come, waking person will come, sleeping person will come, dreaming person will come, they will come and go. But somebody will persist through all of that. And that persistence person will never change. They will continue to exist. They will have no attributes that you can point to. At the same time, as I said, you can neither get rid of it nor can you identify it. It is the most ephemeral in the sense that you can't catch it, and it's the one that you can't get rid of. It's always there. Because without it, there is no conversation. And that thing without parts, that Sat Vastu is referred to as Atma. That Sat Vastu is referred to as Purnam is another word for it. Purnam because it has no parts, because you cannot identify a part. But then what about the Jagat? The Jagat is here. And the Jagat, does it emerge from that Atma? Yes. But the Jagat seems so, is full of attributes. If I had to say what is the Jagat, I would say take infinite attributes and the Jagat is all of those attributes at the same time. But with each of those attributes is stuck along with it. It cannot get rid of that. And therefore, whatever is there is also Purnam. From that Purnam, what has emerged continues to be that. It looks like it has parts. It looks like it has limitations, but it
Looks like we can apply the same C waves example.
it always, it certainly applies.
So maybe this is in some sense asking the question, why was the world created? But basically, why does avidya rise from Sat?
Why does avidya rise from Sat?
And adding to
How does avidya rise from Sat? Avidya is beginningless, but it has an end. And we've talked about this, so I'll take you back to our conversation the last time. We clarified that there is an avidya that we're talking about in the waking state that is available for a sentient, logical being. Right?
Yeah.
There is no avidya for the cow.
Yeah.
There is no avidya for the frog.
But what avidya I meant was it is below that avidya which is there below the karana sharira and
The fundamental avidya. Why is
that
there-
avidya from in the sense that if I want to bring that into the jiva form, that is, I mean, why the world was created is the question. In jiva form is where or why avidya was created.
For a second, I want you to assume that it was not there. There was no avidya. There was no creation. And Sat alone existed by itself, nothing else. No parts in it, no jagat in it.
No, the reason why I want to do is when we interact in the world, we are interacting in the world of avidya. So if we are more clear of, or I wouldn't say that, we are interacting in jagat. So if we can understand why jagat was like this from Sat, then our interactions in the jagat will be more clearer. Now, let's say we are able to recognize what is Sat, but we are not able to recognize why the jagat is like this.
Why the jagat is the way I see it.
Yeah, why the jagat is
So
the
for
way.
a second, I'll tell you, as I was telling you, I wanted you to do a short exercise. There is no. There is only Sat. Blissful, unadulterated Satchidananda Atma without ignorance. None whatsoever. Happy?
I mean, where does happiness come
Yeah.
there?
There is no meaning to the word happiness here, right? There is no experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
The immersion, the emergence of Jagat in its multi-variegated properties is Leela of Sat. It is there just for play, for Sat. And at the same time, Sat never changes. While it is happening, nothing is changing. So if I were to make this analogy to you, you're sleeping soundly in deep sleep and nothing's going on. And then you started a dream. Where did that dream come from? Where did it emerge from? Now, there are many different ways I can address that question and answer it. For example, one can say that since creation is cyclic, all the beings who did their karmas really need to fructify. Those results need to fructify. So Jagat has to be created again and again. I can give you that answer. I can give you an answer from the karma doctrine. I can give you an answer from the Maya doctrine. But in the end, it all comes down to this: that while that creation is occurring and it is widespread and it is everywhere, it is Leela. It gives that multi-variegated form of the Jagat for all the beings to enjoy, and at the same time, nothing's happening and nothing's changing. So it gives all the jivas the ability to go through life. The entire planets are being created, entire planets are undergoing resolution, suns and star systems and solar systems are being created, and they are being put away. It's beautiful, but at the same time, it's there and not there at the same time. It's like the sunset. Why does it get so gorgeous at sunset? Who is it for? Who is it for? It gets gorgeous. The whole sky is flooded with pink, with black clouds. Absolutely gorgeous. Who is it for? It was for you. Enjoy it. It's there. Is it there? It's not really there. There never was a pink sky. But it was there for you to enjoy. Is there anything more that you want from your creator? Besides the fact that it's created the entire world and given it to you to enjoy. And at the same time, given you the opportunity to recognize the presence through each and everything through you. The whole universe has been created and it is available for you, and at the same time, you are saying, I'm standing right here. I'm you. I am experiencing all of this as you, and at the same time, there is no experience. The experiencer is present through everything, and at the same time, not there. Does that make sense to you? The whole Jagat is present, available for you. You're saying, why is this Jagat created for me? Ishvara is saying, oh, you think you are an independent entity for whom I have gone through the process of creation? There is no separate special you. It's me. And I'm experiencing this entire universe at the same time. It is my Leela for me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
We will say, but what about me? Ishvara will say, yes, what about you? Did you think you were a part in me? You're not a part of me. You are me. Because there are no parts in me. I am equally present in each and every individual who is here. Equally present in their entire experience of life. I have never gone anywhere. Obviously. I am experiencing this universe. Does it look like I'm living a life? Sure does. Am I? No. I was always here and I have never been here. I will never come and I've always been gone. That's what Ishvara is saying. So you ask me, why did he create this Jagat? Ishvara will say, I created this Jagat for me. Looks like you are asking me the question, why did I create it for you? I'm answering the question that you are not you. You are me. I'm already here. Now, of course, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. Say, no, but I want it at a practical level. I want to be able to interact with this Jagat. How do I interact with this Jagat? Well, I'll tell you what, if you understand that everywhere you look into this Jagat, everything you touch in this Jagat is Ishvara, your interaction will change. It will become far clearer. Your interaction will change.
Everything, if we assume is,
If everything standing in front of you is Ishvara, everything that you touch is Ishvara, everything that you consume is Ishvara, everything that you play with is Ishvara, the whole understanding of Jagat will change. It will become very easy to understand what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. You won't need pillars of dharma. You won't need commandments to tell you what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. It will be obvious to you. Because you'll understand, okay, this is what's happening. If the sun sets, I need a source of light. Okay, I need a source of light. I can, of course, go to sleep. I always have that choice. But whenever the sun sets, I'll go to sleep. for the next 12 hours. Or I can make a life. It's entirely up to you. In a practical sense, it's telling you everything here is covered by Ishvara. They seem to have limitations, they seem to have parts, but if you look at it carefully, you realize that everything is existing and it's borrowing its existence from that same Satchidananda. So maybe you should ask me a follow-up question so that we can complete if there is any confusion.
I have a question regarding the one word part. Like we all say that if we say that we are all part of Brahman, then how can you say that Brahman is without parts?
Yeah, that's right. Are we part of Brahman? Have I said that we are all parts of Brahman?
Like, I mean,
That's what you just said.
we all are Brahman or we all are parts of Brahman. So it's a little confusing.
Yeah. So it's like maybe you should use the dream analogy to help you solve it every time. You're dreaming and you're standing in your dream, inside your dream world, and you're saying, am I part of this dream or am I this entire dream? Are you, which part of that dream are you? Where will you draw the line that you end and the rest of the dream world begins?
As Ishvara has created this world for himself, he says that we create our dream for ourselves. That's how we.
Remember that I told you he leaves the hint for us to understand throughout all our states of experience. We sometimes ignore some of these states of experience. We consider them to be impractical. Dreaming is impractical. There's nothing to be gained by dreaming. But is it? Because hidden in it was something, a message that was sent. Deep sleep, I'm doing absolutely nothing for 4 hours a day. But the body needs it. In fact, even if I were to find a way for my body to experience it, my mind needs it even more than my body. It needs to be resolved. Needs to be dissolved so that it can wake up again. And I have to put the totality of all these experiences together to be able to talk about what it is that I'm seeing. No follow-up question there? Shivram, I think you want to ask me a question, but you're shy.
No, I am no. I'll keep it for the next class. No,
That's fair.
because I don't want to ask the question haphazardly.
Oh, yeah, you want to think about it. Yeah. So did I answer your question? Your question was, where does this Jagat come from? And why does this Jagat arise? My answer to you is that if you think about that question a little bit, if you followed the story so far, then you got to realize that the individual who's asking this question has made some preconceived notions about Jagat.
That's why I'm saying I don't.
They have concluded that this Jagat was for me. And they have inherent in that is a conclusion as to who I am. And everything that we've talked about so far has been leading to the discovery that the one that is here is present even when you're not thinking about it. That's the one. Even when you are not looking, it's there. Even when you are in a state of deep sleep, you continue to exist. That existence is not asking this question. This question is being asked by a very specific individual who has identified with something. And from that identified standpoint, he's asking the question, why this Jagat? Shira will say, oh, the Jagat is me. The Atma is me. Excuse me, who are you?
No, I feel that I'm talking from this. When we discussed the karma theory, you said the only control that you have is that agami, that the karma that you do.
Karma that you can do now.
Right. So when we are talking in this sense, and when we combine both our analogy with the karma philosophy, I somehow wanted to get an answer for, okay, this is the action that I have to do. But I mean, I can understand from, because I'm asking it from this point of view, there are so many preconceived notions behind it. But so that is
You want an answer to what should I do or how should I do it? What is the right action for me to do in this world?
In some sense,
In-
it's
So the answer to that question is actually relatively simple, right? I should always be following my values. I have certain values, we've talked about them before. I should always be, my actions should be in accordance with that. If I find myself in a conflict where two values are conflicting, how do I pick between them? I've said this before, I'll say it again. Use the best of your intelligence. Ishvara has blessed you with intelligence and has said use it. Use it to the best. That's all I ask. No more. Use it to the best of your ability. That's all I ask. No more. It's the double thinking, the doubting of yourself that gets in your way. If you have truly used all your abilities to think about it, you are limited. There is nothing you can do about that. When the Jivatma is functioning, the Jivatma is limited. His name is Mr. Limitation. He's defined. He's Jivatma. He is only this much. But he is this much. And he or she has to take that and apply it to the best of their ability and move forward. If you've done all of that, then you ask the question, did I do it right? Did I make the right choice? What are going to be the repercussions and the results of that? Have I embroiled myself in more karma in the sense that I have to continue this life of becoming? I'll have to continue. You will say, well, yeah, why don't you read this particular text that I'm going to give you that has some answers about what truly is going on here? What is the true nature of the universe? You say, okay, then it makes sense. This is the important karma for me to do, is to study and do vichara and to think about what is the true nature of the universe. And the process has begun. There is no need to second doubt it or second guess it. The process of discovery has begun for the individual. It will take time. Everything takes time. In this case, it takes a little bit more time because it's really the surgery is performed on the person who's reading the book. So, and that's why they say you need a teacher to come and explain you, talk to you, understand exactly what it is that's bothering you. Because I firmly believe that in everybody's mind and heart, there's a thorn that's stuck. And until we dig to that thorn and pull it out, it won't flow. You gotta figure out what that is. And that's why the process of asking questions and seeking answers is important. Because little by little, we get to the main point at the inside. I think this is good for today. We can do our Shanti part since we've got it on the board, and we can continue next time onwards for next time onwards for vivekachudamani. Because we are right now at the verse where we're talking about Atma.
next Friday we have class. We'll be leaving, right? No.
Oh, it's very,
Okay, we can chat about it later.
yeah.
ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः